Hello, today I am going to present to you about some of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites of the Philippines. Sit back, relax and enjoy this presentation by this awesome group. The historic town of Viggen. The historic town of Viggen is one of the famous UNESCO heritage sites in Philippines. It is located in the west coast of the Luzon island of the Philippines. The features of the town. Its architecture reflects the coming together of cultural elements from elsewhere in the Philippines and from China with those of Europe and Mexico to create a unique culture and townscape without parallels anywhere in East and Southeast Asia. It also served as an important trading post before the colonial era. The traditional Hispanic checkerboard street plan opens up into two adjacent plazas. The Plaza Salcedo is the longer arm of an L-shaped open space, with the Plaza Burgos as the shorter. The two plazas are dominated by the St. Paul's Cathedral, the Archbishop's Palace, the City Hall and the Provincial Capitol Building. The urban plan of the town closely conforms with the Renaissance grid plan specified in the Lady La Indias for all new towns in the Spanish Empire. Why this site is of international importance. Viggen is the most intact example in Asia of a planned Spanish colonial town, established in the 16th century. Viggen is unique for having preserved much of its Hispanic colonial character, particularly its grid street pattern and historic urban layout. Its significance also lies in how the different architectural influences are blended to create a homogeneous townscape. What we can learn from this site as Singaporeans. This site was built by the Spanish colonial era. We can learn from this that even though Philippines was under control by the Spaniards, the architectural sector of the Philippines economy never stopped flourishing. This shows that the Philippines continued with their daily life even during under control by foreign powers. Singapore can never stop improving its economy even as there are foreign problems around the world such as the Trump administration in the United States and the Gulf dispute between Qatar and other Gulf nations. Strategies or suggestions for preservation of the site. We can preserve this site by not interfering with the buildings in the town. Instead, we can restore the buildings with the original building materials such as wood and lime for plaster and mortar instead of using modern building material to preserve the rustic feel of the town. Many houses are being left to decay or are being neglected by the owners. Only very few houses are untouched or restored by the owners. The government of the Philippines can instead restore all the houses and sell them to people who are capable of sustaining the house. This all can help in preserving the site for all to enjoy. Baroque churches of the Philippines. The Baroque churches of the Philippines are a collection of 4 Spanish-era Baroque churches in the Philippines, which were included in the UNESCO World Heritage List in 1993. The churches are also considered as national cultural treasures of the country. People from all walks of life patronize this exhibit there to pray and admire the scenery of the church. It gives off an ambience that relieves stress. The features of the churches. The Baroque churches of the Philippines is a serial inscription consisting of 4 Roman Catholic churches constructed between the 16th and the 18th centuries in the Spanish period of the Philippines. This group of churches established a style of building and design that was adapted to the physical conditions in the Philippines and had an important influence on later church architecture in the region. The 4 churches are outstanding examples of the Philippine interpretation of the Baroque style, and represent the fusion of European church design and construction with local materials and decorative motifs to form a new church building tradition. Why this site is of international importance. This site is a very important site to the Roman Catholics in the Philippines and around the world. It is one of the most important churches in the world. It was built during the Spanish occupation in the 16th to 18th century. It was a period when many Filipinos did not really flourish in terms of their economy, but when this was built it was considered a modern church for its time. This in turn helped to boost Philippines' economy to flourish. Till today, many Christians and Roman Catholics alike go to this church to worship our Lord, Jesus Christ. What we can learn from this site as Singaporeans. The churches were built in Catholic majority country, Philippines. At the time, Muslims and other religions were practically unheard of in the islands of the Philippines. We can learn from this that when Singapore was formed, although the majority were Chinese, many places of worship of different religions were already built. We can learn from these actions that Philippines' majority religion is Roman Catholic, and that Philippines does accept that other religions exist such as Islam, but there are only a few mosques. We learn that Philippines might always be a Catholic majority nation. Strategies or suggestions for preservation of the site. The Baroque churches of the Philippines of the peripheral Baroque style have maintained its authentic features and admirable building technology that is reflective of church architecture of 16th–18th centuries Spanish colonial period Philippines. A potential threat to the property is the possible reconstruction of portions of some of the church's original ensemble which were not present during inscription, in the effort to ensure that the churches continue to function to best serve their congregations. We can just support a company to restore the churches with its original building materials. The Tubbataha Reefs of the Philippines. The Tubbataha Reefs Natural Park is a protected area of Philippines located in the middle of Sulu Sea. In December 1993, the UNESCO declared the Tubbataha Reefs National Park as a World Heritage Site as a unique example of an atoll reef with a very high density of marine species. The north is led serving as a nesting site for birds and marine turtles. The features of the reefs. The national park and the rest of the Philippine archipelago is part of the Coral Triangle, recognized as a center of marine biodiversity containing 75% of the described coral species and 40% of the world's reef fish. The area is under a grave threat due to overfishing and destructive fishing practices. Research of scientists visiting the reefs since the 1980s revealed that the Tubbataha Reefs Natural Park contains no less than 600 fish species, 360 coral species, 11 shark species, 13 dolphin and whale species, and 100 bird species. The reefs also serve as a nesting ground for hawksbill and green sea turtles. Why this site is of international importance. The site is an excellent example of a pristine coral reef with a spectacular 100 meters perpendicular wall, extensive lagoons and 2 coral islands. It is also of international importance as a wide variety of marine animals reside in these reefs. Many international conservatives rejoiced when the reefs were made into a UNESCO World Heritage Site as this would cut down on illegal hunting for marine animals in the reefs. These reefs are of importance to the Philippines as these reefs attract many tourists to the Philippines. The tourist economy makes up more than 40% of the Philippines' GDP. Because of these reasons, this site is very important to the international community. What we can learn from this site as Singaporeans. To protect and preserve our country and national sites just like how the Philippines protected the reefs for the many animals. We Singaporeans can learn to not litter and smoke in public areas so as to not pollute the air so that we make the environment more suitable for everyone. We can also step up our initiative to decrease air and noise pollution. As Singaporeans, we should observe and amend our mistakes to improve the conditions of our country. The little inconsiderate acts of mankind could lead to catastrophes. Strategies or suggestions for preservation of the site. We think we can preserve this site by not polluting the water within the reef. Reducing water pollution plays a pivotal role in saving the marine animals living in the reef. The life form are the treasures of the reefs. The animals are the one who color and give life to the reefs. Another way we can preserve this site is to analyze the site and create a table about the poisonous chemicals that may possibly harm the marine plants and animals, and we could try to kill the chemicals. We could measure the temperature of water once in a while to have a good overview about the water to prevent overheating or cold environment occurring. We have come to the end of our presentation. I hope you all have learned something new about the Philippines. Thank you for your attention, and also thank you for being a good audience.